Hey, I'm your host, TheDoctorDanko, come on in. You've been missing out, so let's begin. Pumpkin_crumb is your host here too. When you hear the beat, you know what to do. Why didn't you warn me? Why didn't you warn me now? Why didn't you warn me? Why didn't you warn me? Hey. Good evening and welcome to Why Did Not You Warn Me? I'm your host, Matthew, the Dr. Danko.
And I'm Hillary Crumb. I have a Twitter handle, but I haven't been on it in a week, so...
Okay. Well, we've been moving.
I'm a fucked up weasel on Tumblr. That's more relevant.
That's a Dark Tower reference.
It is a Dark Tower reference.
All right. So, if you can tell by the audio quality...
The audiolity, if you will.
We have changed our recording space because, well, we moved into a new apartment. I believe last week we recorded in
our bedroom.
In our bedroom without the whole setup going. This week we are in what will be the podcasting room. It's a spare bedroom that we were sort of hornswoggled into. Hoodwinked.
Excellent use of the word hornswoggled.
Thank you. That we didn't really want, but we ended up getting anyway. So it's going to be used for toys.
It's sort of the miscellaneous room, but not storage, for sure 100% not a man cave, because that's not the kind of relationship we're in.
Right, so my biggest thing is collecting toys, as we all know by now. We should. So, now that we have this extra space going from a studio to a 2-bedroom, I want to, spread out my toy collection because, a lot of it's been sitting here in Pittsburgh and we are like 10 minutes from my parents' house, which is where most of it's stored. So, I want to bring most of my collection here set up, but we didn't want to just shove it all into the back room like it's my man cave. I don't want to set up my PlayStation in here and disappear into the night. I want it to be a part of our apartment, and you've agreed to that, so it's not like I've tricked you into it somehow.
Exactly. We're equals, and it's our apartment.
Right.
It's not,
So, your books aren't confined to, a shelf or just, our bedroom or
They're
something.
going to be everywhere, just like your toys.
Exactly. So, we're trying to take equal parts of the space.
Yeah.
So, right now, we are in the spare bedroom. You probably hear a little bit of an echo because I haven't installed our
window dressings or any of our decorations.
There's nothing in this room but this table and a few of my toys. I have decorated the walls, most of the walls in the whole apartment, but our podcasting area has a Tusk poster because that's a podcast movie, and a Wonder Woman poster.
I just noticed that I was sitting right next to Gal Gadot, which, what better company?
Exactly. If I don't do, at least you have Gal Gadot.
Right. And if I don't do, at least you have Gal Gadot.
But I have my Evil Dead poster over here.
It's less enticing.
Yeah, that's
for
true.
Either of us.
That's very true. Gal Gadot is a beautiful woman.
Truly.
And I don't say that about many women.
That's something everyone can agree on.
Right. So what do we have to talk about this week?
Well, in terms of our life, we have a couple of things. In terms of pop culture, not a whole lot. Did you watch or get into anything this week?
So, I want to talk about Swiss Army Man, but unfortunately it's been so long since I watched it that I don't think I could do it justice. I will touch on a few points of it. Basically, it's a Paul Dano and Daniel Radcliffe, the two guys that carry the movie. Paul Dano has been stranded on this island for who knows how long, and he's given up all hope, is literally about to kill himself when he sees Daniel Radcliffe's body wash up on shore. Now it is just a dead body, and he thought it was somebody, but he's got nothing out of him, so he's like, well, I should kill myself again, and goes to do that. But then he notices something of Daniel Radcliffe. Daniel Radcliffe's is sort of, it looks like he's swimming in a circle in the shallow water. What is happening is he's farting, and it's propelling him through the water. So Paul Dano's like...
Tells you what kind of movie it is.
Yeah. It's like, great, I'm going to use Daniel Radcliffe's body to escape.
He's going to fart us both to salvation.
That's literally what happens. He pulls Daniel Radcliffe's pants down enough so you can see his butt, but
because that's what Daniel Radcliffe has done since Harry Potter, is he has shown his ass and more on stage and screen.
Everywhere. But he uses it to steer himself to safety, and he makes it to a shore of some kind. And it's thank you so much, Daniel Radcliffe. You've helped me get back.
Thanks, Harry Potter.
But then he starts noticing different things about this body. He's been alone by himself for the longest time. So he starts developing a friendship with the body.
Normal.
Yeah, but then he notices the body can do all these sort of things, farting him through the water, and he can light a fire. His hand makes a spark that he can use to make a fire. His teeth can cut through things, which he finds out over the course of the movie. But at one point, he makes it to this cave, and it's raining, and he set up this cup of water and everything to get rainwater in. But when he wakes up the next day, he trips over it or something weird happens and he has no water. But then Daniel Radcliffe has been face up in the cave all night and has been collecting water in his stomach, and one thing leads to another, and he realizes he can use Daniel Radcliffe. I don't really know his name. He calls him Manny in the movie, but for the purposes of this, Daniel Radcliffe is what I'm going to keep calling him.
I thought you were just going to touch on this.
I know, but it's starting to come back to me. He collects water, and so you can use him as sort of a canteen. And then he starts developing speech. There's something inside of him still alive, and Paul Dano is communicating to him, but Manny, or Daniel Radcliffe, can't remember anything, how to speak and certain social cues and things like that. So Paul Dano literally has to teach him everything. It's a very interesting movie. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it justice, but it's sort of about perspective and what seems weird and psychotic to some people, talking to this dead body. By the end of the movie, you're not sure what's real and what isn't, and not judging a book by its cover and shit like that, but there are different perspectives and ways of looking at things that you have to be aware of, as just you're going through the world. What Daniel Radcliffe's character learns is why shouldn't we fart in public? Well, because people don't like to do that. That's gross and immature, and it's just frowned upon. But you're relieving yourself and making yourself feel better. Why can't we do it? And Paul Dano's character is telling him what's socially acceptable, and Manny is trying to be the voice of
of the id, more
yeah,
or less.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's just a really interesting movie. Since then, I haven't really watched anything. I watched Casper sporadically through the yesterday and today. It's a fantastic film and just did give me a lot of nostalgia. Just it's set in a certain time, was released in a certain time, and you can feel it when you watch the movie. Same with the music in the movie. It's very brings me back to my childhood. And Bill Pullman, who's in the movie, plays the dad of Kat, who is played by Christina Ricci. I think he's a wonderful actor. He was in Independence Day, and he's probably my favorite president who's ever existed, fictional or otherwise. And then Christina Ricci, she's a great actress. I've seen a lot of her stuff since she's broken from child actor, but I think I had a crush on her when I was a kid. It's the brown hair, brown eyes type thing.
It's Matt's type.
Yeah.
I'm taking myself out of the running with the purple hair.
No, not at all.
Yeah, whatever. I'll leave and you and Gal Gadot can finish up.
Whoa.
Finish up the podcast.
Thank you. Some clarity for our listeners. Hi, Mom.
I'll take Tom Holland and go.
Okay, but that's fine.
I'm not clarifying if you're not.
It is, Casper is just a wonderful movie, but the whole time, like, you're watching it, you sort of forget that, this is a little dead boy that, like, is friends with this girl. And they go into a little bit of how he died, which I couldn't remember when I watched the movie, but there's also this weird subplot about this woman who, like, inherits the house and actually it wants the treasure that's buried inside of it, and, like, she requests Bill Pullman's character, who is like a ghost therapist, to like come in and get the ghost out of the house so that she can go in and dig for the treasure. It's a really weird subplot, but the Casper movie
Psychologist.
All right, so what have you read? You haven't watched anything that I haven't.
Well, it's been a busy week. I have been rereading these books. They have the most horrifically cringy titles.
Yeah.
But they're so delightful. So just gonna rip off the Band-Aid. It's a 3-book series, and I've read them all several times. But the books are Anna and the French Kiss, Lola and the Boy Next Door, and Isla and the Happily Ever After. And they're by Stephanie Perkins. They are just the most delightful young adult teenager falling in love kind of books. They're heartwarming, and they're sweet, and they're kind. Most recently I reread Anna in its entirety, and I'm, I think, a quarter of the way through Lola. Anna I just absolutely love and adore. It's this I think she's a high school senior, and her father has sort of become something of a famous American novelist, like along the lines of Nicholas Sparks, and has decided that he is going to send his daughter to this boarding school in France because that's what rich, cultured people do, and she is understandably not thrilled about this.
Right.
But she gets to School of America in Paris is what it's called. Where
does she live?
She's from Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
She's lived her whole life there. She has her best friend, her car.
Yeah.
She has started what she hopes will someday be a radically successful film critic blog. Oh. She wants to be a film critic.
Nice.
I read a couple of things aloud to you about. Yeah.
It's a cute story.
It's cute. But so Anna falls in with this group of teenagers. One of them is the girl that lives next door to her. And then there's two other boys and another girl. One of the boys, Etienne St. Clair, thankfully is called St. Clair throughout the majority of the book. They get to be really, really good friends. But St. Clair has a girlfriend and has had a girlfriend for a while. But he and Anna just have this chemistry.
That sounds familiar.
You will understand why the book speaks to me now in a way that it did not when I read it the first time.
Yeah.
So there is that angle of it, of these two young people trying to recognize that feeling for what it really is. And they go back and forth a lot between we should just be friends and I like him and I'm mad that he won't ditch his girlfriend. And like they both sort of figure out that they're just like they're terrified of change, they're terrified of rejection, and ultimately they figure their shit out and they end up together. And throughout the next 2 books we get to check in with them because Anna and St. Clair work at the movie theater where Lola works in the second book, and the third book Isla is another student at the School of America in Paris. Okay. And one of the boy who's St. Clair's best friend ends up being Isla's love interest. Okay. Yes, the books tie together kind of very neatly at the end of it. But it's so nice to be able to read these characters and just the very subtle ways that you can see that they genuinely care about each other.
Yeah.
Because, like, there are a lot of instances where people think they're in love, they think they're with someone who is good to them, but, I mean, reading between the lines, or even looking at it just straight on, it's very clear that one person doesn't care.
Yeah.
These characters show consistently in all of the millions of subtle ways that you're supposed to, like defending the other when somebody talks down to them, encouraging them, like noticing little tiny details that other people don't notice. Like, it's nice.
Yeah.
And I think that Isla is my favorite of the 3 books. Lola is probably my least favorite. Lola is usually, I can get some pretty decent insomnia going. Lola is one of the books that I grab when I just know I'm not going to be able to sleep and I want something that I can just read through in one sitting. Okay. Because I'm not particularly emotionally involved in it. But yeah, so I read Anna. I'm starting Lola. I'll talk more in depth about Isla next week probably.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing. It does. You did tell me like you wanted to read these books, and that Lola wasn't your favorite.
Yeah.
But like you have to sort of read it for complete, like.
Yeah, and because I'd also I've read Lola I think a little bit more recently, but you know I haven't had Anna or Isla with me for a while, and I have them now. So
cool.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, while we've both been doing our respective things, I figured I'd tell them what we've been doing, like
with our lives.
With our lives.
Yeah,
first.
good call before we get into.
Yeah, because we can. So we've finally moved to Pittsburgh. We've been here since last episode, and we've started our new jobs at Go Ape, which is a Treetop Adventure obstacle course.
And look into Go Ape, find out if there's one near wherever you are, because it is super fun to be a customer.
Yeah.
Which sounds more weighted than it is, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
It's super safe. So even Matt isn't particularly fond of heights.
I hate heights. I really do. And because there's a course down in Williamsburg, which we both took.
Yeah, we did it with a couple of friends, and it was just so much fun. Yeah. And Matt and I had been dating for a week, something like that. So I didn't really know the extent of his dislike of heights. I think you told me a couple of minutes before we left, and I'm like, huh. So I was kind of worried.
Well, I mean, I wanted to try it because I don't know if I don't try. But also I had, a group of friends there. I felt more comfortable with you especially, even though we had been dating for a week. You're one of my good friends. So, I knew, it might suck, but it's something, I should try right now because I wouldn't do it on my own.
Right. And we'd worked in some shitty positions together by that point. So there was a decent level of, professional trust built up anyway.
Exactly. And so, the obstacle course literally takes place in the trees.
Very, very high up.
Yeah, you climb a rope ladder to get to a platform. On our particular course, I think we climbed a few ladders to get to a certain platform in some places.
I think so too.
And then you go across these wooden step
the various obstacles.
Yeah,
some of them are rope, some of them are wood.
Some of them are rings that you have to put your foot in and climb across.
It uses muscles that you forgot are even a part of your body until they're sore the next day.
Yeah, you swing into a Tarzan, or it's called the Tarzan swing, and it consists of a rope that swings you into a cargo net, and you have to climb the cargo net to the next platform. And
it's jumping to do that Tarzan swing is so counterintuitive because
everything is telling you not to do it
because there's so much slack on the rope. So a lot of the other stuff, even the zip lines, you just sort of set into your harness and let go.
Yeah.
But the Tarzan swing, you have to jump off and you're free falling for enough time that I scream.
Yeah. No.
But so look up Go Ape because it's super fun. They're also doing a lot of really cool stuff for the earth, and for the communities that they're a part of. It started in the UK and now they're sort of all over the UK and the United States.
The particular location that we work for, they like keep the park that it's in maintained, and like, you know, it's habited by a bunch of animals and things like that, so they try to do their best to not disturb the atmosphere, the ecosystem.
And like the trees, they were saying, because of where, like, it's sort of on a hillside, so when it rains, these trees have like roots that are really close to the surface, and the soil gets sort of washed away, so the roots get exposed and the trees die. But because Go Ape has these courses built into these trees, the trees are much more meticulously cared for, so they're staying alive longer, which is cool.
It's a really cool place.
Like ethically, and just the whole company seems pretty cool. We've been training there for a week. Working there is sort of a different ballgame. Because, I mean, there's the angle that you are responsible for the lives of the people that are clipped into this shit.
Right. Because as a customer, all you're given is a harness with some safety cables, and you're taught how to use it appropriately for the course. But like after a certain point, it's sort of just up to you to like always stay attached to the safety system, and like your life becomes your responsibility. Like,
and if you're careful, then it's fine. Like, I brought up you're not being great with heights because like we started the course and it just, I mean, your longest safety cable is like 1.5 feet. So you're not ever going to fall any farther than that if you're attached correctly, and it's not difficult to attach correctly.
No. The carabiners are really easy to work. And they do give you like a brief on how to use your harness, what all the pieces are and what they do, and like...
And they watch you the first several times and they correct you if you're doing it wrong. So like they really, you know, they give you all of the tools that you need to not be afraid. Which is crazy because like you should be. You're up pretty high.
Right.
But it just it felt fine.
So working there, not only do you have to like know the ins and outs of like the course itself, but you also are in charge of instructing people and making sure they know everything that they need to know, making sure that they're going to follow these safety rules of participation, that they're going to be clipping in appropriately and correctly the whole way through. But the biggest challenge, you know, apart from, like, that seems all pretty standard, like walking them through the harness and everything, giving them the spiel on what they should do and what they should not do and things like that. The hardest part to me, and I would say for you as well, is how you go about opening the course. So like we said, there's rope ladders that lead you from the ground floor up into the trees, and then basically each site ends with a zip line. That's your last thing you get to do that takes you back down to the forest floor, and you can go back on to the next site. At the end of every day, when we close the course, we pull up all the rope ladders and shit so that, you know, nobody can just wander onto the course and like fuck with our systems and things like that.
Right, because it's dangerous if you're not trained and if you don't have the equipment. So at the end of the day, there are no ladders left down, which means that when you come in the morning, the only way to get yourself up to the top to check the course and bring the ladders back down is to pull yourself up the zip line. And the longest one is, I think, the longest one at our course, I think, is somewhere around 440 feet long. And it's ascending. So, like, it's going up. So you have gravity working against you. It's not easy.
No.
I did not the easiest. There's the super easy one. There's one slightly harder, and I did the next one above that. So in addition to being, I think, probably close to 300 feet, maybe.
I think it was 300.
To go up, you have to use a different cable because you want to be closer to the pulley so that you're doing less work. So
and
there's
as instructors, you get a special cable on your harness for this very thing
to be able to ascend these lines, and also it's for like assists. And
yeah, there are other uses for it.
So I go through pulling myself up this not even one of the hardest zip lines, stopping in the middle several times, considering crying because it's just so impossible, and looking at how far away the platform is and thinking this isn't gonna fucking happen. Also, it's freezing and snowing, and I can't feel my fingers.
Training days, like we were in rain, like constant rain. The other day when you were doing this, we were in high winds and like snow. It was not good for training, especially because like this is mostly a summer activity. Like it is open like from March forward. And a little bit in the fall, but it's definitely a summer thing. Like, a lot of people don't even sign up until summer.
Yeah, don't go in the winter. It's miserable.
Yeah.
So I get to this platform. Against all odds, I make it to the top because I am so stubborn. But for those of you that know anything about carabiners, you need a little bit of slack to be able to unclip it and remove it from whatever it's attached to. Because I am fairly short, average fucking height for a woman. I'm 5'4". But the line that's attaching my waist harness to the carabiner to the pulley is very short.
Yeah.
So I'm standing on my tiptoes on this platform. My fingers are so numb that I can barely get the safety line to clip me to the platform so I don't just go falling back down, at which point I think that I would have cried and left. I would have totally just walked away. So I finally get myself attached, like painstakingly, with arms that don't work, fingers that I cannot feel. And then there's like a step, you can't see my air quotes, but I'm using them, that theoretically is in place for me to put my foot on and be able to pull myself up enough to get this instructor sling unclipped.
Yeah.
I'm wearing steel-toed boots, and this step is like roughly the width of like a really enthusiastic broom handle. And they want like, and the guy who's training us is like yelling, not angry, just so I can hear him. Like telling me to just step on that and lift myself up, and I'm like, I can't.
Yeah, it's also in a really weird place. Like from the ground at least, I saw it. So like the tree is in line with the zip, but then the step is like off center.
Yeah, it's slightly offset.
And like you're in the zip line, which is in the center of the tree. So like you have to step over and basically go that way with it, like.
So I'm stepping and leaning, and there's nothing to hold me close enough to the tree. So I'm having to sort of like grab onto the cables, which hurts my arms and my numb, dead fingers. So I could not get myself unattached. So the instructor had to climb up and do it for me, which was awful and humiliating. And
look, it would have happened to me too, because I had to ascend the other tree before this,
right?
To open up that course, and I almost didn't get mine undone. And also, like, the wind is blowing and the tree is moving, and I'm freaking out, because A, I'm not good with heights, and B, like, the whole tree is swaying, and I'm like, if I don't get this unattached, I'm screwed. Like, there's nothing I can do. There is no step that I can use on this particular one, and like, I heaved my groin up into the air, like.
Like you just don't care.
I just don't care. And I just barely got it. So like had I not been able to do it in that like split second, I would have had to have AJ come up and help me. Because like I know it sucked that you were the one to need help, but I don't think
I'm curious. There's another girl who's training with us. I'm curious if she would have been able to do it.
Because you guys are pretty much the same height.
Yeah. We have to do the longer ones tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm not excited for that. I'm dreading it, actually.
Yeah. I also, I've talked once or twice. I've had some stuff going on with my hip. And I do think that the activity for Go Ape is not doing me any favors.
Yeah.
So I can't say for sure how long I will be employed with Go Ape. But they are a fantastic company.
They totally are. And this particular one, like, everyone's super nice, super helpful. But yeah, I mean, for me, it is the height thing. And, like, I'm hoping that it's not very common that we'll be in the trees when there are high winds, because that really freaked me out. The trees were, like, not only on that particular one, the platform under the zip line is very, like, small compared to all the other ones. So I'm, like, sort of hugging the tree while I'm unattaching, and, like, the tree is swaying, and then I go through the course backwards, and we have to do the Tarzan swing to, like, let it down and things like that. And the Tarzan swing has so much tension on it, and he's like, you have to clip it to, like, the tree if you can, or, like, clip it to your green attachment point on your harness. And I'm just feeling like it's gonna pull me off the tree as the tree is swaying, and there's a lot about it that I don't like, but I'm hoping that that's, like, those few instances where, like, it's just the weather that's making it the worst. Ascending the zip line, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do, at least on the first go, because I'm doing, like, ab crunches, and I haven't done those, like, ever in my entire life. So
yeah, I mean, it takes, like, obviously you know that it's your arms, but so every single muscle in your arm is sore, but it's also the way the guy who was training us told us to do it, said it's easier if your legs are engaged as well. Yeah. So you're sticking your legs out, and it's engaging your core. I was sort of the last 50 feet or so trying to, like, swing myself.
It looked like you were on the platform at several points, but it's just the
fucking
perspective.
Wasn't.
Yeah, I know.
and then once I got there, like, my toe was brushing it, and I was like, what is even? Like,
yeah, because, like, you kind of get a running start when you're going up the zip line, so it's not like you're doing it the entire way, which would suck twice as much. But you take a running start, and the pulley takes you up not even halfway.
Yeah, your momentum gets you as far as it can.
Yeah. But then it's all just pulling yourself, and, like, you don't know if you're doing it backwards. You were sort of doing it sideways.
Yeah.
I tend to do it backwards just because that's how it happens, and it doesn't freak me out as much. But I have no way of knowing where the platform is, so I have to look back every so often to make sure I'm getting close.
And
and
it's
just
so
not.
disheartening. It's
just never. And I'm like, I'm so far away from the ground. Like, why am I not on the platform by now?
And like we said, we haven't even done the longest ones yet.
Because I know AJ was saying that, like, because most of the one is, like, all of the landing, like the mulch and stuff where you land, like, you'll take off from the ground, but then, like, you'll still see the landing, and you're like, how am I still in the landing zone? Like, I have so much more to go.
So I don't know if this job is going to happen for either of us. Like, listening to the people that are training us, like, they so clearly love what they do.
Yeah,
and that,
sure.
I mean, that goes really far with me. I was talking to you about this earlier. Like, it feels like it could be a good career, but it's not a career that either of us are looking at. And also right now, we're just sort of looking at banking some money, filling some time so that we can develop our respective portfolios and work on projects that we haven't had time to work on because we've been employed.
I know.
But we have been coming home from every training day just absolutely fried, which I think might segue us nicely into the show that we have actually been watching this week.
So, we've taken a break from Doctor Who because it's my
exhausted.
show. And that's what happens. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
So hurtful.
We've been exhausted, and I haven't, like, wanted to set it up because we've been blessed with getting a television from my grandmother, who's, like, she would leave the television on all day, 24 hours a day, because she was taking care of my aunt, so it was on constantly in the living room, and then one day it just started, like, getting these blackouts, sort of. Like, the TV would be on, but the screen would be black. So they just wrote it off as it didn't work. And put it in a box, and my dad was like, I'll see if I can fix it, and she had to buy a new television and everything because that's, like, their only source of entertainment. So
we got the broken TV.
We got the broken TV and turned it on, and there was no blackout. And plus,
it's been fine.
We
watch it for a couple of hours a day.
Yeah, not leaving it on all the time
Seems to help.
it. So we got a nice big television.
And we got a couch. Matt's parents have been just absolutely wonderful to us. They
really
love
have.
having us here, and we are deeply thankful for everything
they gave
they've
us
done.
we went over for Easter Sunday, got leftover lamb.
We've been
and
eating
ham.
leftovers literally all week, which has been beautiful because we would have starved to death if we had to cook for ourselves this week. And happily, we would have laid down on the floor and been like, I can't cook anything, let death come.
Take me home. So since we've been tired, we're just like, let's put something on Netflix.
And we found the Great British Baking Show.
Yes.
What a gift.
Which is also known as the Great British Bake Off.
Which I keep calling it.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it was.
Okay.
And then they, made it into something else.
Okay.
But it's everything you would want in a baking show, plus everything you want from Britain.
We were 30 seconds into the show, and Matt is like, yes, this is what I want. This is perfect. I love this.
Because...
Whereas Queer Eye took him 20 minutes.
That's because I wasn't sure how the Queer Eye was going to, the formula for it.
Okay.
I thought,
Great British Bake Off, 30 seconds in, Matt is in love.
That's because, you have... is Britain, so already I'm in with that. But then you have these delightful narrators who are the presenters. Great personalities, they don't even call them hosts. They're presenters.
And they're so bubbly and vibrant.
And funny.
They make puns all the time. It's perfect.
And then, so you have the British music, which that's how I can describe it. It's very Pushing Daisies, as you said. A lot of the shots of the outside nature. It's this
tent in the middle of this idyllic British countryside. There are shots of the animals, of the buttercups. It's beautiful.
So beautiful. And then so at the base of it, it's a cooking competition, but treated unlike any American cooking competition that's ever been made in my entire life.
They're so kind to each other, and they're just cheering each other on. And when something's going wrong for one of the contestants, the other ones come over and try to help.
Right. So in America, you have Cutthroat Kitchen,
right?
Hell's Kitchen,
right?
Fucking Gordon Ramsay slit your throat so you can make your apple pie.
Kitchen.
Yeah,
it's my favorite.
But then. So, in America, everyone's just yelling at each other.
They all want everyone else to fail so they can win.
And I know this is like this in other reality shows. I haven't watched a lot of, Iron Chef and things like that.
I watched a decent amount of Cutthroat Kitchen with my best friend.
Did they ever, sabotage one another?
Yeah, they get sabotages.
Okay.
You can, purchase them
that's
and foist them on people.
Okay, so that's, a part of the show.
And you want to know what's crazy about that one? Is there is, without fail, always, a little blonde woman who everyone ignores, and they put the sabotages on the other men who they see as the threats, and the little blonde girl wins.
Yeah.
Every fucking time.
So,
anyway.
In this show, none of that.
Right. They're just delightful to each other.
Oh, I'm going to bake a tart today.
They just want to be the best baker they can be.
Yeah.
And it's heartwarming.
And so then you have, there are 3 parts to every episode. There is the
signature bake.
Signature bake. So each episode has a theme.
Right.
Biscuits or pies or something like that.
Right.
So their signature bake is keeping with that theme, but that's totally on their own.
And they can practice it at home.
Yeah.
They come prepared, or they should,
yeah.
with a recipe that they have perfected. That is their signature item that they bring in to show the judges.
And then the next category after that is the technical, where they are given a recipe.
That has a lot of key information removed from it.
Yeah.
Because it's about their skill and knowledge as a baker.
And then the third one is...
A showstopper.
Where they're given the item they have to make, but they can make it any way they want. Right?
Basically. And it's supposed to be the biggest and most impressive of the 3 bakes that they do.
It's supposed to be very well presented and taste amazing. It's supposed to hit everything. And in each part, they sort of rank the best one. In the signature bake, they just go to each contestant, tell them what worked, what didn't.
I think they do that for the showstopper as well. I think technical is the only one where they get formally ranked.
Okay.
But you can tell because the critique is out loud in front of everyone.
Right.
You can tell.
Yeah. And that's the one where, like, so the signature bake, they go around to eat them. And then the showstopper, they bring
it up.
Like,
which I am always so worried about. Because they spend, like, a couple of hours making this just spectacular masterpiece of a whatever. And then they have to carry it up to the front. And I'm like, they're going to drop it and ruin everything.
And the two judges are... I haven't, like, researched them at all.
I don't either. Apparently they're, like, British celebrities.
Mary Berry.
I don't know the guy. I think the guy's name is Paul something. He's an asshole.
Yeah, he is a bit like the Simon Cowell of the show.
Right. But, I mean, still more gentle.
Yeah, no, he I mean, when he likes things more often than he doesn't like things.
And when he likes things, it's not like... He's not obnoxious about admitting it.
Right.
Sometimes.
Like,
he'd be like, I didn't want to like it.
And
that's great. Shut the fuck up.
She seems like a very British old lady.
Yeah.
That
just knows her shit.
Yeah, but like could be right on the cusp of being rude.
Yeah, and you didn't like her towards the beginning.
I really didn't. I'm still not 100% on her.
Right.
But
he's worse, though.
He is way worse.
Also, the contestants season 2, I have no use for any of them.
Paul Hollywood is his name.
Great. I don't think I've ever heard that said out loud.
No.
What are the presenters' names?
Okay, we have Mel Gilroy. I can't pronounce that.
Sure.
Yeah, and then Sue Perkins.
I love Sue.
Sue is my favorite.
Yeah.
Mel is good, but Sue has that like extra.
On your mark, get set, bake. We both noticed that the one or two things we cooked this week after having binge watched the show, that we felt just like a little bit rushed and frantic.
Yeah,
like I was making fucking burgers.
Yeah, and I'm like going through the kitchen, like, all right, I got this. I got to time this out, make sure this isn't too hot. I gotta flip this burger now. I gotta put the cheese on this.
Right.
I gotta toast the buns, make them presented properly. Like, I definitely felt like I was on the show.
Right.
And I was hearing the music in the background.
Yeah. But like the show is, for the most part, it's so soothing, and because they're so British. And like when things,
no, keep going.
When things are like going wrong, the presenters come around like, oh, what are we going to do about this?
Yeah, they're very like helpful and like
they'll like help roll stuff out. Like Mel, like one of the women, she was trying to make this cookie tower and it was falling over, and Mel was like, I'll just stand here and hold it.
They also sort of fuck things up sometimes though. Like
Sue leaned her elbow into something,
and there was just this big like dent in the pastry.
Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah, but
obviously
they're very helpful, and like anytime somebody gets kicked out, for lack of a better term, they like hug them and
we love you.
Yeah, it's like you'll get them next time, and like very British colloquialism.
They're so sweet and helpful, and it's delightful.
Very loving. But the other thing, so like we started this show earlier this week. Mm-hmm. There was 10 episodes in season 1. Right. We're on season 2 now. Mm-hmm. There's a vast difference between season 1 and season 2. All of the contestants on season 1 we just loved, and like there was maybe only 1 or 2 people we were like, I don't really care for them.
And they left.
And they left like pretty early on.
Right. But they also seemed to be better bakers in season 1.
Yeah, very technically and like overall.
Look at us. But like, I mean, you could tell based on the criticism. Like for the technical challenges, more people in season 1 had better quality bakes out of it. Season 2, people are fucking up left and right.
Like always. I don't really care for a lot of the people in season 2. There's maybe 1 or 2 people that I actually want to win.
There's one. Kimberly. I love her. She has the most honest smile. Yeah. She's so sweet. And whenever she's like, they come around, the 2 judges, and like ask, what you're baking and what's going on. And Kimberly's just always so excited about what she's doing.
She has a smile on her face. Like, I actually enjoy baking. This isn't as much of a competition. This is just, like there's the one girl, Ruby, who's just
Ruby
like,
sucks.
This is going to be terrible. You might as well not even eat it. And
she brings it up to the judges and is like, sorry, this is terrible. And they're like, what?
Why would you say that?
Right.
And then they take a bite of it and it's like, this is amazing. Don't tell us that it's terrible, because it's not.
Right, because you're just making everyone
But
hate
she does
you.
that every time.
I swear to God, the girl never smiles.
She doesn't.
She's Eeyore.
And she, like, wings things. She never really has a plan for her shit.
Right, and, like, she's young and she's taking exams, but, like, if you're
Okay.
going to be on the show,
But
like,
in
you gotta
season
focus.
one-
Right. Martha had...
She was 17, taking exams, and
she was
she
still
made
sweet.
it to, like, pretty far on.
Right, and she was still sweet and we still liked her.
Yeah, she was like, oh, well, I guess that didn't work.
Yeah.
Better try something else.
And she was very calm, cool,
Yeah.
and collected. And just
Yeah.
kept smiling because,
Yeah.
you know, you're a young person on this show where a lot of skill is required.
Yeah. And it wasn't until season 2 where we sort of got this mentality from the contestants of, like, you know, if somebody else does bad, that's good
That
for
makes
me.
me look better.
And I'm like, that, like, it's fine for me to think that, like, that's the strategy as an American, but you're in the great British,
the greatest
British
show.
bakest office. Like,
Why did not you warn me?
right? Like, you can't be thinking like that.
Right.
I already hate your guts.
Right. We watch the show because other people do not think like that.
Right. Like, that's the one of the many draws for me on this
And when
show.
the guy that said that particular thing got kicked off, we were like, yes, yeah. But one of the contestants was like, I don't need to be the best. I just want to do the best baking job I can do, and
Right.
I hope he's all right with his life. And
It's like, that's why we watch the show.
I get very passionate, very worked up about their bakes and their situations.
I'm very curious to go back and watch the earlier season. Unfortunately, Sue Perkins, I don't think is in it.
That's useless.
I know, but this other
She's
comedian, Noel Felding, is the presenter, which I don't think you know, but he did Noel Felding's luxury comedy and The Mighty Boosh. It's like he was making shit with his friends, and it's really weird and obscure shit that my dad actually showed me.
Oh.
And my dad has shown me a lot of British stuff, which is why I have such a love and appreciation for it. Like Red Dwarf and Blackadder with Rowan Atkinson. So I would love to see Noel Felding present the show if it's as bubbly and funny as Sue Perkins and Mel G. But I actually looked it up, and Sue Perkins has hosted and presented a few other shows.
Oh, so
I might be interested in looking at those.
Well, we'll see, because we're going to fly through this show. There's four seasons on Netflix.
4 seasons. The show itself this says 67 episodes. So that's 8 seasons, roughly, and it's still going.
Because obviously, why not?
Yeah,
it's perfect.
so... And actually, its last season just ended on January 1st of this year. The Great Festive Bake Off.
Cute.
Last episode. But then, at the end, when they were picking their last 3 contestants, there's like a whole festival, sort of.
Yeah,
all
they
previous
present the
contestants
winners.
And like the families of the remaining contestants come and enjoy themselves.
A jolly little
picnic.
picnic.
It's like a whole nice
very
event.
Sweet. I keep saying the word sweet, but
it's very sweet.
it is. Thank you.
It is. So yeah,
that's
what
watch the
we're
show.
watching. Yeah, it's definitely
Go
worth
Ape.
watching. Go Ape.
Go Ape. I'm so tired.
That's fine. I don't think we have anything else to talk about.
I don't think so either. It's been real.
Is that your sign off?
Bike.
What? Oh, bake.
Bike. I don't know.
I thought you said bike.
Bike.
Don't do that.
Go bike.
All right.
I'm broken.
I'm Matthew, the Dr. Danko.
I'm broken.
Bye.
Bye.
Once the show ends, please don't shed those tears. We'll come back again, so have no fear. Oh, we told you that it just might end up this way. What's the show called again? You cannot be saying, why didn't you warn me? Why didn't you warn me?